You can earn a bronze trophy called Fall of the FOOTCLAN for defeating the final boss, Shredder, in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Danger of the Ooze on PlayStation 3. The boss fight itself, though, is absolutely BS because it just feels really broken and randomly broken, so you might have an easy time with it, or you might have a frustrating time with it like I did, and it makes going for all the speedrun trophies even more of a pain. The Shredder boss fight is broken up into 3 different stages, and the first stage is fairly simple, to be honest. There's a trick to this Shredder fight in that Shredder cannot be damaged by your normal attacks, so if you just run up to him and start wailing on him with the square button, like you do with all the other bosses in the game, you won't have much luck. No, instead, with this boss fight, you need to basically just avoid all of Shredder's attacks for a certain period of time as he repeats the same moves over and over again until eventually he'll get bored and then do this specific animation which leaves him vulnerable for you to attack and use one of your shell kicker moves to kick him into this electrified wall. Now we move on to stage 2 where the bullshit begins. So a big magnet comes down at the start of the stage, and the trick here is to punch and attack Shredder to knock him up into the magnet, which is what will damage him, and that sounds really simple.
Oh yeah, how awesome are we?
I gotta say it.
Turtle power!
But it's only simple if the game wants it to be, because often the magnet and Shredder are in sync, so when he's vulnerable, the magnet's nowhere near him, so you can't hurt him.
No! God!
And this will just happen over and over again during this stage, where he does it, where he's nowhere near the magnet.
Please, no!
And trust me, it'll get really, really frustrating when you're just trying to survive against all the crap that Shredder's throwing at you, and it never works.
No! No!
I mean, look at this one here. He jumps to where the magnet was, but as soon as he lands, the magnet fucks off to the other side. This is an absolute joke, and it really ruins this fight. He also has special moves that he does throughout all of the waves, and they just make it even worse. Like this red beam that, if it hits you, will just slow you right down so you can barely move, and then it's just game over then. And it's really hard to dodge it. In fact, I think the only way you can actually dodge it is just by swapping out your turtle so they jump off the stage when the beam appears. He then has a yellow laser that he'll fire these little plasma balls out, and if they hit you, it blocks you from attacking. So if you press the button, it just does nothing, and that lasts for ages, usually until Shredder is vulnerable. You can almost guarantee it. He then has this blue laser that he fires into the air, and these sparks fall down and you have to dodge them, because if they hit you, they reverse your controls. It's if the fucking fight wasn't hard enough already. You go and put this crap in to deal with, all the while trying to wait for Shredder to be vulnerable so you can attack him. Oh, and I also forgot about those 2 foot bots that he spawns in, because they're really annoying during stage 2, because they just absolutely get in your way, and of course they're those ones that throw those scythes at you, so it's just even more crap to deal with as you're trying to get to Shredder and hit him before that magnet moves away. And another thing, that magnet can also hurt you if you try and jump over Shredder's attacks and it's over your head, because it will just electrify you. I mean, just look at this bit here. This clip is sped up twice the speed, and look how long it takes for Shredder to become vulnerable and in sync with where the magnet is, so I can actually attack him. And look at how much stuff he's firing at me that I have to avoid, and how many bots I have to destroy before him and the magnet finally line up. It's just an absolutely frustrating, and what I think is just broken fight, because if you ask me, he should become vulnerable and the magnet should always be over his head when he becomes vulnerable. But look, he did it there once, where the magnet was on the complete and utter opposite side. So what is the point of attacking him at that point? Because I can't kick him over to the left side and then flip him up. And I can't flip him up and move him in the air. He just goes straight upwards. So it's just there's no point to it. And he might have even done it again then, but I've missed it because I'm having a rant at this point. But yeah, look how long that is. And now finally he becomes vulnerable. But look, I messed it up at that point because I was just panicking and I couldn't get that combo out. So by the time I flipped him up into the air, the magnet had gone anyway. But if you want absolute proof it's BS and not just me being rubbish, take a look at my run where I finally beat the game's speedrun and got the platinum. So here I am, kicking him into the wall to end wave 1, and now this is the start of wave 2, and look how fast I get this done, because look what happens now. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's instantly vulnerable, and I managed to get him onto the magnet. I did stage 2 there in about 10 seconds, yet previously I was playing it for 2 minutes before he would finally do it under the magnet. What the hell is that all about? Then worse still, wave 3 is even more bullshit. So this one, you just have to dodge his attacks. He does all the same moves again, and you'll have to just wait until he becomes vulnerable once more. But this time there's nothing around for you to hit him in to anywhere, nothing that's electrified, which is what you've been doing this whole fight. So how exactly do you have to beat him when he's vulnerable now? Well, you actually beat him by doing the downwards sheller kicker move. Yeah, down, you have to knock him through the wood, or at least it's supposed to be through the wood, but it doesn't look like that when you do it. So how crap's that? That makes no sense whatsoever. This boss fight, it just has to be broken. That's not how it was intended to be. And that final stage where you just have to randomly knock him through the floor, even though the whole fight has had this electricity theme, just reeks of just maybe running out of time, ideas, or just couldn't be arsed. But yeah, I did it, and I got all my trophies and the platinum. But you know what? My final memory of this game is that terribly made boss fight. Which is why I think the fall of the FOOTCLAN is that other bullshit TMNT Danger of the Ooze trophy.